Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is June the 16th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Monday, happy Garfield Day to ya. Hopefully you got that lasagna today. I know for me, I got a little portion. I got a little cut of it. Got a little slice of the action. Overall, my day was good. I would still say that I had a bit of a moody hangover of sorts where I just still wasn't feeling it for like most of the day. Plus, I was tired. I like missed an hour of sleep, waking up too early. My back was hurting, I guess, from, the workouts. So I was really, moving uphill, excuse me, so to speak. But I want to say by the time I got like halfway through my workout, started feeling a little better. So that was good. Kind of the fog kind of cleared out in my head a bit. But so it goes. Sometimes you have some good days, you have some bad days. But I feel like I'm making the most of it, and I'm trying to be as positive as I can be, so that's good. But yeah, work was fine. Nothing to really complain about. We got through that. From work, we went to the gym. Gym was busy, but like typical Monday busy. I think the Hamilton gym opened back up, so it's been like the normal regulars for a busy Monday. So I guess that's nice. I almost didn't get all my machines, but then was able to find an opportunity to kind of just get it a little bit out of order, which is a lot easier to do when I'm not doing like heavy lifting days. When I'm essentially just on a maintenance day, I can just kind of do it almost in any kind of order I like, and it's fine. However, whatever order I need to, I guess I should say. So yeah, I mean that's been the day. We're back home. I'm trying to stay awake. I drink some extra coffee. But yeah, I mean, for now, my back is all right. I feel like the workout kind of helped my back a little bit. I don't know, how that works, but sometimes maybe, you get it loosened up a little bit. I don't know what it is. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the startup, and we can go ahead and get into some news. We got a lot to cover, so I don't want to yap too much. More updates. I know I've kind of covered the past, for the past 2-3 days, like the same 2-3 stories, which is unfortunate because I'm about to do it again, plus more. But I really do feel like, sometimes we do get into, a bit of a repeat, but it's for a reason, right? These are usually big stories. They're pretty important to cover them the way that, we got to cover them sometimes. So bear with me. Ooh. All right. My first story comes from CNN. Israel-Iran conflict enters fifth day with more attacks. The deadly conflict between Israel and Iran has entered its fifth day, with both sides widening their attacks. Iran's air defenses were activated again tonight over Tehran, state media said, hours after the Israeli military said it detected incoming Iranian missiles. U.S. President Donald Trump, who on social media today warned Iranians to evacuate Tehran, is leaving the G7 summit early and returning to the U.S. because of what's going on in the Middle East, the White House said. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he believes Israel's strikes have significantly set back Iran's nuclear program. I estimate we are sending them back a very, very long time. I can't elaborate, he said in a news conference. Casualties are mounting. In Israel, 24 people have been killed since the hostilities began. And in Iran, 224 people have been killed. So for Israel, they really haven't been noting the civilian casualties that they've been inflicting on Iran. They've been more or less focused on the military staff, the nuclear scientists, and things like that. But, behind closed doors, it was even, touted that they're like, hey, we have a potential opportunity to get the supreme leader. Like we could get the Ayatollah. We should do that. And essentially it's been said that like Trump's like, no, you cannot do that. Like that was voted down. So they kind of just got like the next higher up they could get. That, wasn't, I guess, blackballed from them or whatever. So, I mean, a lot of notable killings on that end, but they've been killing also innocent people who they've been also telling to be like, you should rise up, against your evil regime that's been, oppressing you guys and da 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 da. But meanwhile, they are bombing them. Israel's doing that to, the Iranian people. So, people have been rallying against Israel in Iran, um, but there has been a back and forth, of course. It's been noted that Israel kind of expected more of a resistance, more of like a missile ballistic, resistance from Iran. But I guess they've just been so effective at destabilizing the military that, I want to say, I guess, a rebuttal has been not as big. I mean, but still, hundreds of missiles have been launched, drones and things of that nature. And yes, Israel has the Iron Dome, which, is very effective at, blocking a lot of missile fire, protecting Israel. But there have been casualties. So I wanted to do an update there. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. I didn't even mention the fact that, like, in the beginning of this, I had found out that, like, they'd gotten so deep that they had like Mossad spies, helping conduct this whole fucking campaign, since the start of it. Which, once again, that shouldn't have surprised me, but it's just it is crazy how deep Israel can get, either via espionage, either with the technology, cyber surveillance, cyber whatever. It's intense, some of the shit they can get into and do. But anyway, we have a lot to cover, so I don't want to stay too long on this story. Another update from ABC News. Suspect Vance Boelter and Minnesota lawmaker shooting booked in county jail. The massive search for the man suspected of shooting two Minnesota lawmakers, one fatally, concluded on Sunday evening when he was arrested by police, officials confirmed. Vance Boelter, 57, was arrested near his farm in Green Isle, Minnesota. He was booked into Hennepin, we're going to say Hennepin County Jail at about 1 a.m. Excuse me. According to online records. Vance was spotted on a trail via camera earlier Sunday and then taken into custody, police said during a press conference. Minnesota State Patrol Lieutenant Colonel Jeremy Geiger said when police closed in on Boelter in the woods, he surrendered without incident. The suspect crawled to law enforcement teams and was placed under arrest at that point in time. After his arrest, Boelter was taken to an undisclosed police facility where he is being interviewed. And then we go through, more or less the rest of the recap in the article, but we've talked about that a little bit, so we won't go through there. I did hear that there was a bit of, I don't want to say lore, that's the wrong word, but I guess history. At one point, let me see here if I can find it. Boelter was appointed to a state advisory board. That was just something I had learned because it had come out, and like there's been a little bit of misinformation, from people on the right and things of that nature, trying to say like, oh, Governor Tim Walz has like come out and, said all this stuff. They're looking for this guy, but like, this dude, like Walz is like friends with this dude. And it's like, no, he voted for this guy, but he didn't know who he was. And even then that has nothing to do. You can vote for a guy, have a relationship rapport with the person, and then this guy goes on to become a fucking assassin. That doesn't mean like, oh, I'm buddy with that dude. It just means you knew him. In a political sense or whatever. So that was a strange angle. I think I saw like Laura Loomer or something posting about some shit like that. But that being said, I wanted to bring that up not for that point, but to say that it's like, oh, he's been in these political spheres. Apparently he has like really strong opinions about abortion. He's anti-abortion. and I guess you could say pro-life, put that in quotations, whatever. Also, it's been noted that he is like a very pro-Trump guy, and I think that is why people on the right are trying to like make this conversation about anything other than that. Also, apparently, he has a manifesto, but haven't really seen that yet. Hasn't been released yet, so we'll see. I mean, there's gonna be more details here, of course. About Vance Boelter. Obviously, very unfortunate though. The shit that he did. 2 people died, another 2 people injured. Very critically injured, at least to my knowledge. So yeah, I mean, we will definitely be coming back to the story, but I'm glad that this guy is off the streets. That's a good thing at least. Another update that we had that I wanted to cover, the No Kings protest. We're going to take it to Utah. A fashion designer and father of 2 was killed at a No Kings protest in Utah. One man is accused of murder, but he wasn't the shooter. Now, this is a little confusing, but I think I understand it. Now, the question is, am I going to be able to convey the information? We shall see. An innocent bystander at a No Kings protest in Utah was shot and killed by a peacekeeper who was aiming for a different man, pointing an AR-15 style rifle towards the crowd, witnesses told Salt Lake City police. Arthur Fulasa Alu, 39, was fatally wounded Saturday evening, police said. He was a husband, a father, and a renowned fashion designer, according to a GoFundMe page established to help his widow Laura and their 2 children. Alu, who went by the name Afa, was also a co-founder of a nonprofit, Creative Pacific, and appeared on the fashion design reality TV show Project Runway. He was among 10,000 protesters who packed downtown Salt Lake City for a No Kings protest, one of the 2,000 nationwide, denouncing the Trump administration. While authorities have not released details about the peacekeeper who shot Alu, the man who was spotted carrying the rifle was arrested on suspicion of murder. The preliminary investigation shows Alu was participating in the demonstration and appears to have been an innocent bystander who was not the intended target of gunfire. Gunfire erupted around 7:56 p.m. as panic spread throughout the area. Hundreds of people ran for safety, hiding in parking garages behind barriers and going into nearby businesses. Officers then found Alu, who was gravely wounded and later died from his injuries. Moments later, police were flagged down nearby and found a man crouching among a group of people with a gunshot wound. The man, later identified as 24-year-old Arturo Gamboa, was dressed in all black with a black mask. As officers approached, community members pointed out a nearby firearm, which was described as an AR-15 style rifle. Officers also located a gas mask, black clothing, and a backpack in close proximity. Witnesses reported the man had been wielding the rifle in a firing position and running toward the protesters, police said. Gamboa drew the attention of 2 peacemakers who were wearing high-visibility non-green vests and carrying firearms, and one of them fired 3 rounds, said Salt Lake City police. One round struck Gamboa, while another tragically wounded Mr. Alu. Salt Lake City police said Monday the peacekeepers were not overseen, sanctioned, or trained by the department, and neither of the men are current or former law enforcement officers. Gamboa was taken to a hospital and later booked into Salt Lake City County Metro Jail on the charge of murder. Police said Monday it is not immediately clear if Gamboa has an attorney. Let's see. Detectives have developed probable cause that Gamboa acted under circumstances that showed a depraved indifference to human life, knowingly engaged in conduct that created a grave risk of death and ultimately caused the death of an innocent community member. But on Monday morning, the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office told CNN no charges have been finalized in the case. The DA's office said the case was still in the hands of the police department. Let's see. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I really wanted to pull from here? The 2 peacekeepers who have not been identified were detained and interviewed. From the department's standpoint, these persons are considered members of the public, subject to the same rights and responsibilities as any other person in Utah, police said in a Monday statement. The police department also said it was unclear whether they were hired or volunteered for the event or acted on their own initiative, and a permit for the protest did not detail plans to have organized or armed security. The Salt Lake City Police Department does not direct or manage security roles and responsibilities unless that requirement is outlined in the event's approved permit, of which it was not. Police added. So yeah, this is a little bit more of an illumination of what happened there. When I initially covered it, I just knew that one person had been shot and injured. I wasn't 100% sure about someone being killed. I had heard about that, but I couldn't find an article to exactly like flesh this out for me. So finally had that today. It's still very confusing. I guess just kind of leaving with my 2 cents on it. Obviously, it's very unfortunate that Alou was killed, and he should get justice. He was going to protest peacefully, do his thing, and it seemed like, hey, someone was coming to do harm to, at least potential harm to, the group of people who were, demonstrating. So, that's Gamboa, right? So I do understand why he's getting charged for something, because his actions, led to the death of someone. But I guess it gets the haziest is with these 2 peacekeepers, right? They shot someone and then shot 2 people, killing one of them. And I mean, to a certain extent, I feel like I can't help but think that could have been avoided. There's a whole lattice work of things to go through there and that kind of discourse. Time's going to tell who is going to get charged and for what. We shall see. I'll definitely be coming back to the story. But yeah, definitely a very confusing situation, very sad situation. Definitely didn't have to wind up like that. And, it's crazy that, so many people were like, yep, I'm going to come and I'm going to do this armed thing. And you have someone who's like, yeah, I'm going to fucking come to do harm potentially. And then you have the, 2 other people who are volunteers for whatever reason. They do the best they can, but they do kill an innocent person in the process. And, I could get into it, but once again, we just really do not have that much time today. And, given all my whole 2.5 cents is not maybe necessary for today. So we'll skip it for now. Our next story comes from the Associated Press. We're still sticking in Utah. Carnival argument shooting kills 3 in an unusually violent weekend for Salt Lake City area. A 16-year-old boy shot 5 people in a confrontation between 2 groups at a carnival in a Salt Lake City suburb, killing 3 of them, including an 8-month-old infant, police said. The shooting Sunday in West Valley City happened a day after an apparently unrelated shooting killed a man at a No Kings protest and marked an unusually violent weekend for the Salt Lake City area. Police working at WestFest at Centennial Park, about 6 miles or 10 kilometers southwest of downtown Salt Lake City, saw the 2 groups begin arguing Sunday night just 100 yards or 91 meters from a police mobile command post. As they approached to break up the altercation, a 16-year-old male from one of the groups pulled out a gun and fired, the department posted on X. One officer fired back, but did not hit anyone. The shooter struck and killed Hassan Lugundi, 18, of West Valley City, in one of the groups. Lugundi appeared to have been the intended target. Police said. Besides the infant boy, whose identity was not released, bystander Funu Rena, 41, of West Jordan, Utah, was killed. Both died at the hospital. Rena was not the infant's mother, though she was in roughly the same line of fire. 2 other teens, a 17-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy, had non-life-threatening wounds in the arm, police said. It is not clear if they were connected to the groups involved. Their identities were not released because they were juveniles. A pregnant woman was hurt while trying to get over a fence to flee, police said. The 16-year-old was quickly taken into custody and booked into juvenile detention. He was charged with 3 counts of homicide. West Valley City spokesperson Roxanne Vanuku said at a news conference Monday. His name would not be released. Because he was a juvenile. Police were interviewing witnesses and fellow officers to find out more about what happened, including whether the confrontation was gang-related. The two officers directly involved in the confrontation were being investigated by Salt Lake City Police Department protocol team because one fired their gun. As a result, they would not be immediately interviewed by West Valley City Police. In short, there are details we will not know until the investigation is complete. The carnival, a celebration of the establishment of West Valley City and of its cultural diversity, was winding down after drawing as many as 10,000 people over the weekend. Between 1,000 to 2,000 people were still present when the shooting happened. And it's also worth noting that this was not related to the No Kings protest, separate situations. But yeah, still a very unfortunate weekend for, Salt Lake City, to kind of have these kind of deaths when they just shouldn't have happened, just point blank. They definitely could have been avoidable situations. But yeah, our love of firearms prevails here, got to bear those arms, I suppose. Living in America. Anyway, from ABC News. 2 of 4 ICE detainees who escaped from New Jersey facility captured. Now, I'm sorry for being late. I was up my ass and I should have covered this shit yesterday, but I lost it in the whole news shuffle, and that's on me. I fucked up. You can put the blame on me. Anyway, 2 of 4 detainees who escaped from an immigration detention center in New Jersey on Friday have been captured, authorities said on Sunday. The FBI's Newark field office said the detainees, Joel Enrique Sandoval Lopez and Joan Sebastian Castanilla Lozada, were back in custody but did not immediately release details about their reported apprehension. Detainees Franklin Norberto Bautista Reyes and Andres Pineda Mogollon. We're fucking that one up. Mogollon, who also escaped Friday from Delaney Hall Detention Facility in Newark, remained at large on Sunday, officials said. Senator Andy Kim, a Democrat from New Jersey, said at a news conference on Friday that the 4 men escaped from the privately owned facility that has been contracted out by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, by breaking through a wall, which he described as drywall with a mesh interior, in a unit that led to an exterior wall and into a parking lot. Kim said he was briefed on the escape by the facility's administrators and ICE officials. Kim said the detainees bolted from the Delaney Hall during an uprising at the facility. Now, the Department of Homeland Security said it wasn't an uprising. They said, contrary to current reporting, there was no widespread unrest at the Delaney Hall detention facility. But either way, these guys got out. They were on the loose, at least, 2 of them, now. But, yeah, we could go through a bit of their rap, their rap sheet, their criminal record, whatever. I personally don't care. An escape is an escape. It's going to be something I wind up covering because I just love covering escapes. I love tonight is gonna be a jailbreak. Even though this isn't a jailbreak, it's a fucking detention hall or detention center. You just pretty much fucking purgatory. But, given the climate that, the Trump administration has set, that ICE establishes for just being what it fucking is, you can understand how anyone is going to want to fucking get out of that situation and want to fucking just get out and get as far away from there as possible. So yeah, it's not surprising that, they got some fucking drywall they got to Kyle through. They're going to fucking try to do that. And it's going to fucking happen. Granted, is that much better than some of our fucking prisons that we have? No. Sometimes we have a couple of shitty fences and, some walls that you can fucking take a crowbar to or something. You know what I mean? So it just is what it is. But yeah, now that we are hip to this story, we will definitely be keeping up with it, keeping track. A couple more stories to go. Next one is coming from NPR. Deadly flash floods kill 13 in San Antonio and at least 3 in West Virginia. Flash floods hit the San Antonio area late last week, leaving 13 dead. The San Antonio Fire Department confirmed over the weekend. The flooding arrived in the San Antonio area on Thursday when a record 6.11 inches of rain fell, including about 4 inches that fell in a single hour early Thursday morning, according to the National Weather Service. On Saturday, the fire department released the names of most those killed. Texas Public Radio reported. The fire department said it responded to more than 70 water rescues, according to the TPR. The fire department did not immediately respond to NPR's request for information about rescues. They go through some other areas. There were some storms in Appalachia that contributed to the 3 deaths in West Virginia over the weekend. Let's see here. I want to scroll a little bit further ahead. Parts of Montana, Wyoming, and the Dakotas could see severe thunderstorms with large hail and critical gusts of wind, some being over 75 miles an hour, according to the National Weather Service, or the NWS. Virginia, North Carolina, and several states in the central and southern plains could also see strong to severe thunderstorms, according to the NWS. Meanwhile, the Mid-Atlantic was in store for excessive rainfall through Monday morning. So, yeah, a little bit of weather reporting there. Obviously, really sad because, normally we don't wind up covering much weather unless it is a pretty devastating situation. So, obviously condolences to the people going through that, to the people who have lost family. In those kind of situations. I know that is very harrowing, very sad. But we have one more story that I wanted to cover. Sadly, it's not good news. It's food related, but not in like a good way. So I bet you know what I'm getting to. It's seeming like a recall situation. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our last break and let's close it up. Oy, 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 oy. Ooh. From the Associated Press, salmonella poisoning linked to pistachio cream sickens 4 in Minnesota and New Jersey. 4 people have been sickened in 2 states by salmonella poisoning linked to pistachio cream, a nut butter spread used in desserts and other dishes, federal health officials said Monday. 3 people in Minnesota and 1 in New Jersey fell ill between March 10th and May 19th, including 1 person who was hospitalized. The outbreak is tied to Emek brand pistachio cream with the use-by date of October 19th, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC. The spread, which may be packaged in 11-pound or 5-kilogram tubs, was imported from Turkey and sold online to wholesale distributors, restaurants, and food service locations nationwide. It has a production code of some numbers that I'm not reading. The product should not be sold, distributed, or served, the CDC says. So yeah, I mean, I gotta say, as a person who's been getting a little bit more into pistachios this year, this is sad. This is a bummer. Now the whole nut spread's got to get thrown out. Now I got to worry about getting salmonella. Hopefully, not too many, more people or anything like that are getting sick. Hopefully it's not going to get any worse than just being sick. You don't die. That'd be bad. That'd be a bummer. But yeah, I'm interested in maybe trying this pistachio cream. Maybe not Emek, but then again, maybe. You know what? I've had this problem ever since I was younger, right? Where I was every once in a while, I'd get some random just news, and I'd be like, okay, so what's this food recall? And it was like Sargento cheese. And I remember I'd eaten Sargento cheese, just randomly. We normally were a craft house. But I remember being like, yep, I'm swearing off Sargento cheese. I never ever want to get that because I'm going to get sick and die from it. And it's like, I know that's not the way to handle this kind of stuff. These recalls happen and, hopefully it gets addressed and handled. But granted, the thing that really sucks here, right, is, at that point in time is maybe when I had the most faith in government and like any of the departments and things like that and their ability to quote unquote keep us safe. Now I feel even less than then. So maybe, were my paranoia, were my suspicions justified? I mean, I don't know. Look, I don't know. Anyway, needless to say, I'm curious about this pistachio cream. If you ever had like any kind of pistachio cream, let me know. Because ever since I've had like that chocolate pistachio situation, it's changed me. Like I liked pistachios okay before that. They're fine. Let me get the little package one. I'm eat a little nut. That's fine. But like now I'm like, I want to try more pistachios. I want to get into more pistachio related things. So let me know. Hit me up either in the comments or, you have my information. You can find me, but speaking of which, we'll get there. Let's see. Thanks. So how do I end? How do I cut this? Actually, we did pretty good too. Under 40 minutes for this much information. Huzzah. Okay, that's where we'll leave it for the day. If you would like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Though you can't hit me up on the Patreon. And shit, I think you can actually, plot twist, you can become, like, you're not a newsie, but you can, like, follow for free. That's a little cheat code. But, you don't actually get the shout out or anything like that unless you subscribe. That's just the rules. I do make them. But no. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you like to listen to. I'm probably there, just waiting for you. Leave a comment. Like I said, tell me what pistachio style I need to get into. How do I incorporate into my diet more pistachios? You can put that in the comments. Let's see. Sharing is caring. But overall, I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you listening to me bumble around with the news, talking about my sad little life. It really does mean a lot to me that you hang out with me for, a part of your day. Whether if this is your first time doing it, oh wow, thank you for making it this far. That's pretty cool. Or it's your, 900th something time. Holy shit, we've really been through it. Hell yeah, and we got more to go. But yeah, that's really all I have for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.